4 years is what I don't think me could sleep.
Bernice, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, stand by. Okay, go to black, JJ. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
My name is Bernice Weiner. Today is November 10th, 1994. I am here to interview Elena Zegna, who is a survivor of the Nazi Holocaust. I am doing this under the auspices of the Holocaust Documentation and Education Center, Incorporated. The purpose of this interview is to add to the oral history of the Holocaust so that through this living memorial, future generations will know what happened. With this knowledge, we hope to prevent any such occurrence in the future. Elena, let me welcome you today and thank you for coming. I would like to start with, first tell me, what is your full name?
My full name from when I was born
Yes.
is Hannah Zilberman, married to Zegner.
And how did you spell your maiden name, your last name?
Zilberman, Z-Y-L-B-E-R-M-A-N, Zilberman.
Let us begin by talking about the date and the year in which you were born.
I was born March 22, 1924.
And where were you born?
Warsaw.
And Warsaw is in
Poland.
what country? Where did you grow up?
Warsaw, Praga, a suburb of Warsaw.
You grew up in Prague.
Yes.
How large a city was Prague?
It was a big, it belongs really to Warsaw. It's like a borough from Warsaw. So the whole Warsaw was about 1 million people.
How big was the borough in which you grew up?
About 350,000 people were there.
And about how many of that population were Jewish?
From whole Poland, it was 350 million.
But what about in your area?
I can't tell.
Oh. How did most of the people in your area earn a living?
All kind of people, butchers, shoemakers.
Was there a major industry in the area where most of the people were employed?
Yes. It was a Schlachthaus.
Which is what?
Which is when you bring in livestock and you kill them there for selling for meat. It was delivered to whole Warsaw in all around Warsaw.
And were most of the people in the town employed in this
I would say about 30%.
And of that 30%, were a good number of them Jewish?
Not too many, no. It was maybe a 5%.
Was this a kosher slaughterhouse?
No.
Let us talk about your own family prior to the war. How many children were there in your immediate family?
I had 3 sisters.
What were
I am the youngest.
You're the youngest. What were their names?
Sophie, Adela, Selina, and me.
What were the names of your parents?
My mother's name was Brandla from the Ham. She was Kobylko. And my father is Shama Zilberman.
And your mother's first name was what again?
Brandla.
And her last name?
Kobylko from
Could you
house.
spell that for me?
K-O-B-Y-L-K-O.
How did your father earn a living?
He was in the Schlachthaus connected with. He used to buy livestock and the farms around Warsaw and also farther away. He used to bring it with wagons, the freight to the Schlachthaus. I used to sell it.
And you and your sisters attend school.
Yes,
Did you go to a public school?
yes.
What grade were you in? How far did you go in school?
Well, I finished my public school and I started going to what would be called here high school, and the war started.
Do you remember prior to the war any incidents of anti-Semitism?
Yes, we used to come to a park which was near the Vistula, play like usual. Then came some students, boys from other schools, Christian schools, and they used to chase us out and beat us up. Sometimes we felt anti-Semitism, yes.
Were you ever beaten up by these gangs of boys?
I avoided that. My looks were like a Christian girl. That's what saves me.
But you witnessed some of these
Yes,
beatings.
my friends were beaten, and I had to help him come home. So it was tough.
Do you remember hearing about what was going on in Europe prior to 1939? Were you aware of anything that was going on?
Yes, we were aware when Hitler came to his power, a lot of people started going away. My sister, the youngest, was lucky. She left for Israel. And then the oldest came after her to Israel. I want to go. My parents would let me. They say, you won't leave us alone.
How old were you at the time?
I was then, when I want to go, I was then 13 years old.
How did you hear about what was going on in Germany?
Oh, well, the papers were written. Not everything was written exactly. But I know an incident. My father had a friend, which he served with him in the First World War. And he was ousted from Germany. He was staying on the between German and Polish frontier. Polish wouldn't let him in, and the German chased him out. So my father took the courage and he went there. He brought him. He said he's going to vouch for him. He brought him. He was staying with his wife, which was a German Catholic. And she was staying in our house. That I remember.
What did he tell you about what was going on in Germany?
He said the business were all closed up, taken, robbed away, and
did he mention how the population was being treated, how the Jewish population in particular?
yeah, that's what he said. They weren't allowed to go public places. They weren't allowed to walk on the street. They had to walk in the middle of the sidewalk, and it's very bad.
Do you remember what year it was that he came to live with you?
That was, I think, in 38.
Were there any changes that took place in Warsaw prior to 1939? Or did life continue on as it always
What
had?
the same?
Tell me what happened at the onset of the war in 1939.
And yeah, the military German walked in.
Do you remember the day?
Yes, it was end of September, September 31 or the 1st of October, something like these days, because I remember we were supposed to start school September, and we couldn't. First of all, there was no lights, no water, nothing in the school, and we weren't allowed to attend the school. And they marched in, and they stayed in our school, or they occupied the school, the Germans. So
Where were you when they entered the town?
I was in Prague. I saw them marching in with beautiful horses, big fat horses in the front. Then a few jeeps and a lot of marching on foot.
Were you at home at the time that they came in?
Yes, I was on the street watching them.
Had your parents talked to you at all about what you would do if the Germans did come into Warsaw?
No, my parents didn't expect what's going to happen, because in the World War I, the Germans were very good to the Jews. My mother used to make business with them while my father was away in the service, and they didn't expect what's going to be. We didn't know what to expect from them. So it was, my mother said, well, it's going to be another government.
What happened after you saw them march in on that first day? What was the next thing that happened?
Next thing, they came out on the streets. No Jews allowed to go to school, but I went anyway to school.
How did you manage that?
I went to school for like 3 weeks. It was okay, the teacher likes me and everything, Polish school. But then one day she came over me, come to the outside, and she said, I'm very sorry to tell you, I like you very much, it's not up to me. I got an order not to let you, not to let any Jew into the school. You have to leave. But stay through the day, so you won't be suspicious when they're gonna ask me. I say she left the school, that's it. Because she didn't want to shame me. She loves me.
What other changes took place at this time in your lives?
First of all, we, for a lot of people, we were good up. I can tell the difference for a while. It was all right, but then I felt my girlfriend used to come to me because we had the food. My father used to still go to the Schlachthaus, bring food from there. And even during the bombardment, I used to go with father. We used to milk the cows there and bring milk for the little children during the September bombardment in Warsaw. And we used to bring some kind of food there, milk, also eggs, because the wagons still used to come in. So we had butter and everything to give them away to the kids. Then this all stopped.
What laws and restrictions did the Germans first put upon?
No, the same thing as I've heard from the German friend of my father's. No Jew allowed public places, no businesses. The businesses were robbed all and taken away. And after that, in about a year later, we were told to leave even the place where we lived, to go to a ghetto.
Before you left for the ghetto, how long after the Germans entered your town was it before they took your businesses and restricted you?
It was very short time. It was about 3 or 4 months after that.
What was your family's reaction to this going on? Do you remember your mother and father talking to each other at this time?
My mother used to say, it's not like it was the First World War. She didn't expect that. People start to run to Russian border, to run away. And my sister ran away too. I had two sisters before the war left for Israel. And I had one left sister in home. So she went, somebody told her sugar is good to take there, so she went with packages of sugar and she left, she went away. After a while she came back, she said, it's terrible, it's nowhere to be.
Where was she trying to get to?
Through the Russian border. The Russian weren't far there. They moved, as the German moved, the Russian moved through the river Bug, they call. And she tried to go over the river, which was already the Russian people there. And she sold the sugar, but she had no place where to stay. She used to sleep on the streets. there was no room where to go. So she came back.
What was life like during the time before you went into the ghetto? How did you manage as a 13-year-old child?
It wasn't easy. We weren't, it was a curfew. About 7 o'clock at night, we not allowed to go out nowhere. We were staying in the patio. There was a patio. Some were playing, some... There wasn't much to do.
After you were restricted from going to school, was there any organization amongst the families to try to give you an education?
Not in my age. For the little kids, yeah, they tried to teach them to read and write. And
How did they do this?
there was a room, in our house where I live, there was a room like for Stiebel, I was going to say, a small, yeah, and the religious people used to come together and daven there, pray, and also to learn. So they took in all the little kids, like 6, 7 years old, to teach them, but they teach them Jewish, not Polish.
Now, during this time, did the Germans ever try to stop the people that were coming to your house?
At night, I have an incident, yes. At night, the doorman had to let them in. There were 3 Germans. I saw them through the window. We lived on the 3rd floor. I saw 3 Germans coming. And they knocked on every door. And I said, German, don't open up the door, don't open up. At that time, we were playing dominoes with other kids together in my house. And one of the boys made in his pants from...
He was so frightened.
Frightened, because we heard the incident, the kicking in, you know, the kids were afraid. So I said, no, open the doors.
Were your parents there at the time?
Yes, they were there. And I knocked across the street, my uncle lived. I knocked on the door, don't open the door. But their door wasn't so, you know. But once they opened the door, my uncle had 7 sons. And they were all on the floor. And make it so that they're poor and everything was on the floor. They couldn't step even in. So they said, there's nothing to take there. My uncle understood, but we didn't open the door. And they knocked, went away. And I never forget this boy. He was so frightened. He was going under the bed.
Do you remember what you were thinking at the time, what thoughts were going through your mind at the time that you heard the Germans knocking on the door?
I said, they won't catch me, they won't kill me. I won't let do that to me. I was always from far away when I saw Germans. I never went next to them. I know Polish kids, Christian kids, I mean, they always run behind them because the German used to catch Jews and taking away goods from them and give them away the Polish. And I was once trying to do that. So somebody must have recognized me who I am. And I ran away, they couldn't catch me. I ran and no more I went behind them. And I was thinking to myself, I was blaming my parents, why didn't let me go out to Israel?
During this year before you went into the ghetto, were you able to get enough food?
No, it was very hard. At the beginning, the Polish people used to come in and bring in food to sell it. The people who had goods like gold, clothing, furs, used to exchange for the food.
Did your family do this? What were some of the things that they exchanged for food?
My mother had a fur coat for food. We weren't allowed to have even a fur collar I had on my coat my mother put a cloth on it, so they won't recognize that it's a foot. If not, if a German sees me, could take it off. So
Was there any illness in the area at this time? People getting ill, and could they get medical care?
there wasn't too much medicine. A lot of typhus went out. I remember...
This was before the ghetto now. Before you went into the ghetto, there
no,
was...
in the ghetto.
But before you went into the ghetto, were people pretty much
Sick?
able to get medication if they were ill?
No. Very little, very little. Only the Jewish doctors attended the Jewish families, but the Jewish doctors weren't allowed to go to the hospitals no more because it's a public area. So we had like Casa Hori, which is like an insurance, medical insurance, but we weren't allowed to go there because it was taken over. So we didn't have any medical. Thank God we were not ill. Only my mother was sick, which she had sciatica, back problem. She was always laying. She couldn't walk. She was a sick person. And we had a Jewish doctor coming over.
Now you mentioned before that it was about a year before the Germans decided that you would go into the ghetto.
Yeah.
Could you tell me how that came about? How did you find out that they were going to ghettoize you?
Because they start building around walls and wire around the places in Warsaw. This is one sign. And the rumors were that we had to leave. We weren't sure yet. And that was winter time. Coming to the winter, it was fall, winter.
So it was
That's
about
the worst
what month?
time. It was about October, November. It was cold already. And they're putting out announcements on the walls.
What did the announcement say?
That all the Jews had to leave and go to assigned area, which is a Jewish neighborhood. At that time was a Jewish neighborhood.
How far away from where you lived was this?
I live in Prague, not far away. By walking it took a half an hour. By traveling by car it would be about 15-20 minutes. But we had to live. We were lucky because my father had a lot of relationship with Christian people. So we exchanged. People who lived in the ghetto had to come out where we live. We exchanged. So we were lucky.
People that you knew?
Yes. People, I knew them. I knew most of the people. My father used to do business with them, and they are Polish people. That's why when the ghetto started, I used to come out to them, and I used to bring in food. They used to give me food and clothing sometimes too.
What was this family's name?
One family was Niewinski. They are not alive no more. And another family had a German name, Schmidt. Was very good to me. Can tell some people were very good.
Now, what were you allowed to take out of your home and into the ghetto?
Almost everything. There was no restriction. You could take everything. But who could take it? We didn't have no car, no horses. So whatever we could take it, we took. But then my uncle had horses. So when he was finished with his moving, so he helped us to move and another uncle too. So we got most of the clothing in, most of the cooking pots and pans, whatever a house needs. Because those people liked our furniture, what we exchanged, so we were left with their furniture. The furniture wasn't so, but it was functional. We could live with it.
How large an apartment was it that you moved into?
2 little rooms with a kitchen.
And
That's
how
all.
many people moved in with you? Was it just you, the 4 of you?
4 of us, yes, 4 of us. It was all right then. But then the owner of that house, they have stables for horses. They had, and he was a Catholic. He wanted to sell it. He couldn't sell. Jews wouldn't buy it at that time. So he just took out the horses from there, and he said he's going to burn that house. I can't sell it. No one will have it. So we had to go out. He told us to go out. If not, you're going to be burned out too. So whatever we found a little room with another family.
So he was able to do this with the Germans in control? They wouldn't have stopped him from burning the house?
Who would stop a Christian person to do whatever he wants to?
Did he actually burn the house down?
No, he didn't, but I don't know, it was like bumped. It went down, everything went down.
So you left and you moved in with someone else?
With someone else in a little room, and we had to share the kitchen. And this was an old people. I couldn't even laugh or walk. Everything was, I had, wasn't comfortable. But we have to live with it.
Did the Germans direct you to go there, or did you find
our own, we found that. Our own.
Now, you're in the ghetto now. How large an area was the ghetto?
Not too big, and there were a lot of people in there, and they brought in from other towns also, which they tried to push into people into the rooms. Some people were starving already on the streets from cold, from hunger. They were covered with paper. I can't talk because I found that my girlfriend I went to school to, Lake.
You mentioned something about your girlfriend.
She was laying on the floor covered with paper. And I was so mad. I said, I don't want to be in this ghetto no more. I'm going out and not coming in. But then my parents said, you're going to leave us here. You are the only one, because my looks were like Polish, no one could tell. You have to go out and bring us food, we're going to all die. I used to do it till they parted the ghetto. It was a small ghetto and a large ghetto.
Which ghetto were you in?
I was with my mother, my sister, and the big one. And my father went to the small one. But then
Did they divide you, or were you just apart the day they separated the ghetto?
Because of my father was together with my uncle, the 2 brothers. They were working together, and they were taking out the garbage of the ghetto. When they used to do that, they used to go in with 1 horse and come in with 2 horses. And I was buying the horses. I went to the people I know with which my father used to make business with them, and they used to buy for me the horses, bring it to me, and I used to bring him to the place where they were throwing the garbage out.
Did you have any trouble getting in and out of the ghetto?
Not in the beginning. Later on, gotten each time tighter and tighter. I used to find every crack in every wall and through the ceilings and through every way I could. I get out.
But at this time, when you were going in and out with horses,
With,
was the ghetto closed at that time, or were you everyone free to go in and out?
no, it was closed already.
And how did you manage to get in and out with the horses?
Well, when I bought the horse and they put it together, my uncle had a seat, and under the seat he was holding food for the horses. So when it was empty day, I used to be, they were sitting on me. My father with him was sitting on me, and he used to bring it in. That was in the beginning. Later on, my father wasn't going no more out with him. He was staying with a group. They were planning, I don't know what.
Before we go further with that,
yeah.
Let me go back, if you will, to the ghetto when you were living in one room with this elderly couple.
Yeah.
What were the sleeping arrangements when you were in this one room, all of you together?
My father, my mother was in one bed, and my sister, during when we moved, she had a boyfriend. She was older than me. She was 18 years old. When we moved to the ghetto, she got married. They make a chuppah, and she got married. So she left, and she got a place somewhere in the small ghetto.
Now you said
And so I was the only left with my parents.
Now you say she was married.
Yes.
And they were able to make a chuppah. Did were the Germans aware that you were doing this?
No, it was private in a room. The rabbi came with a few people and make a chuppah, and they got married, because my mother said, you are not going to go away with him. And he doesn't want to stay with his parents either, because there was no opportunity. He was a technician. The boyfriend was a technician. He used to make like girdles for ruptured bones or some. He used to make those things, prostheses also for broken bones. He used to work with doctors.
So they were married before your family entered the ghetto?
Right.
All right. Now, in the ghetto, what were the sanitation conditions in the apartment, in the one room?
It was one bathroom.
Inside or outside?
Inside. One bathroom.
Was there any heat? You mentioned it was the onset of
No
winter.
heat. No heat.
How did you manage to keep warm?
We would rest. We tried to keep dressed. We had goose blankets from goose made, like in Europe, blankets, and that what helped us.
What about, was there electricity in the apartment?
No. We used to go to sleep together when it fell down darkness. We woke up with the lightness.
And what about your health when you were living in this apartment? Were you able to stay well, or were any of you ill?
Thank God we were staying well. Somehow, I don't know, my mother lost a lot of weight. She was a heavy set woman. She lost a lot of weight, and she got better. She started working.
What type of work did she do?
When she was young, she was a seamstress. She used to sew for us all the clothes. She was very handy, very good. And
what type of work did she do in the ghetto?
Nothing. Nothing. Couldn't do nothing.
All right. Now, you said that you were able at first to get in and out with your father and your uncle by riding underneath where they were sitting, and then you would take and sell the horses when you got out. You said shortly after that your father did not go out any longer. What happened at that point? Why did he stop?
Because a man from out of the ghetto, a Christian man, came in. he told my father, listen, there's plenty of livestock to buy outside. You go out, it was winter time, I remember, so they didn't have, the men had a horse with a slit, not with roads, but with a sled.
A sled.
And they used to, my father took me with him. And they used to go out to the farm and buy cattle. I remember they couldn't get a wagon to get in, so that man, he was paid, and he got a wagon and put the cattle into the wagon and brought into the Schlachthaus. Now, in the Schlachthaus, I walked in, and I had the people, and they used to buy from me this cattle, would you believe?
How old were you at this time?
I was then 15 already, 15 or 16. We didn't.
The Germans did not try to stop you?
There were Germans there too, but they looked at me. They got money too. They were paid off from the Polish people, because not only cattle came in this wagon. There was butter and eggs and gooses and everything what the people in the farm had to sell.
And you would bring this back into the ghetto
Yeah.
with you. Did they not try to stop you when you were coming back into the ghetto with all of this?
Well, I had places which I used to pay them off to get me through.
These were the Germans?
There were houses connected. I used to go through the basements. They were both of them were paid, you know. I paid one side and the other one
When
cut
you say
with
both
them.
of them were paid, were they
The
the
Jewish
Germans?
place in Polish, the Germans were no aware
Were not
about
there.
this. No, the Germans were standing only at the points to where they were to go in horses or cars or whatever. But the houses, some of the ghetto in the beginning were connected. So we could go in through the basement, we could go in through the roofs, through canalizations, would you believe? There were so many places we could go.
How long were you able to continue doing this?
Not too long. Maybe a year or two. That's all, because they start already rumors when our, what do you call, mayor, I don't know, Chernyakov, took his life with his family.
Who was Chernikov?
Chernyakov was the man from the committee in ghetto.
Which committee?
With the Germans he has to do.
The Judenrat?
The Judenrat, yes,
Now, Chernikov was the head of the Judenrat?
yes.
Tell me about the Judenrat.
Well, I don't know much about it, but when before they start to taking out Jews to the concentration camps, they came in to Chernyakov, and they told him that he be spared, but he has to permit in his name to put out the evacuation.
Now, when about was this? Do you remember the date?
That was
Approximate
May
date.
end of 42 or in beginning 43, something like that.
Was it in the winter or the spring?
That must have been springtime. Because in 42, I remember when I was out of the ghetto, the planes are flying. The Russian made a pact with the Germans, and that was after that. So it must have been not springtime, must have been already autumn.
Now, did your family know Chernikov?
No, we heard about them, and we saw when they put out orders, there was with his name too.
Do you feel that the Judenrat helped any of the people in the ghetto, any of the Jewish people?
I didn't see any help there, no. But at the end, we know, because Chernyakhov took his life with whole family. That he didn't want to do what they want him to do.
So he took his own life.
Yeah, the whole family.
Now, during the time that you were going in and out of the ghetto, were you ever caught?
Sure.
Tell me what happened.
Many times. Well, the German didn't stop me. I went through. The Polish police stopped me, and grabbed me. They took me into the boot. They searched me. Whatever I had in me, they took away. I had in the shoes money, but they didn't somehow didn't look in it. And because he found on me a lot of meat, I had a big coat, and I was going from the Schlachthaus. People gave me meat, and I had a big coat, and I covered it. I had on me. I was like big blown up. But they took off the coat, and at the stage he took away the meat, and he beat me with his. He had no revolver, but he had a stick. He beat me a few times and let me go, and my father watched from the far away. And I had blue and black, my tush and my feet, and I barely could walk. But I ran away. And I looked good at his face to remember him. When I saw him, I never went through again.
Where he was located?
Yes.
Were you caught any other times?
Yes, I was caught. I was running. At the beginning, the tramways were running. It was a tramway. I don't know if you know what a tramway is. I was going through the ghetto, and I used to go on the tramway like a boy and go out. And one day I was catched. And
who caught you?
On the tramway there was like plain police. They were civilian clothes. I didn't know that they were police. And they caught me and they brought me to the booth. I said, please let me go, not to the booth, let me go back to the ghetto. No, you have to go to the booth. So I went to the booth. And I said, at least let me go to the Jewish police, because we had also Jewish police. So he looked at me. I said, don't you have a child like me? He let me go to the Jewish police. But I was wrong. The Jewish policeman, he had a quota to take it in Jewish children. And they shoot them overnight in a place not far from us where we used to live. And when we were walking there, walking through on the street, he was holding me. I said, where are you taking me? He told me where. I said, you won't. I hear shots each day. They are shooting children there. You won't take me there. He said, yes. So I give him a kick, and and I had nails, then I put my nails on my face, and I start running. And he ran after me, but couldn't catch me, and I ran away. That was the incident, and since then on, I was in my mind not to go in more into the ghetto, because I said that's what it's going to be my end. But I still stay on because of my parents. But when they parted the ghetto, the big ghetto, the small ghetto, the parents were parted too. And I couldn't see my father anymore. And I know my mother was all right. Well, she was walking, she was taking care of herself, she was doing what she can to live. So, and one day I went out and I said, I'm not going no more in. I said to the people where I'm staying there, it's so hard to go out and in. It's getting worse and worse.
About what time, when was this? About what year?
Just short before the upbringing, because This was like in October, November 93, the end of 93.
43.
43 years. And
Now, how was the ghetto set up? Was it divided in these...
divided, we have to go over a bridge.
Between the big and the little
Yes.
ghetto?
And at that time, when I was in that big ghetto, I was working on Tabens Fabric. They were making clothing for the Germans. My mother used to do a very good job working in it.
You both worked there?
And we worked, yes.
And this was a German-run plant?
Yeah, Tabens, called Tabens. And there was a selection there too. They came in and they looked at your face. When you were young, you get the Arbeitskarte, which means working card. If they didn't like you, they didn't give you. So I was sitting around with my mother. My mother didn't get the working card, and she was taken away. No, they all had to go one place, the one. And I said to my mother before she walked out, I said, don't go that way, go the other way. I knew the place already well. And go the other way, and there's empty room somewhere. Hide it. You won't take it away. So she went away. She must have been hidden somewhere, I don't know. And I came home, she wasn't there. And I started to cry. I said, they took her away. They found him, but she wasn't home. So, and time went up, maybe an hour or two. Somebody stays at the door. It stinks terrible. She was in a bathroom somewhere hidden. She came out, terrible smell. I didn't recognize her. I said, what do you want to go away? I closed the door. She said, that's me. And I recognized the voice.
Where had she been?
She has been hidden somewhere near a bathroom. I don't know what it was there. She was terrible smelling and dirty all over. So she went in, she took a bath. Was no food. But we were rationing. I got the car, so I had the ration. I brought it home, and we were sharing it.
Now, during this time, were you able to get to your father and your uncle at all?
Once or twice I did.
How were you able to do that?
I went through the bridge what they built, and I went through.
They didn't stop you from going back and forth over the bridge?
No. But
during this time, were you still working in the clothing factory?
yes.
How long did you work there?
A short time. Since my mother was found there, and there were rumors that we're going to be taken away also, all of us. That was almost the end. There were almost no people. So my mother said to me, listen, you have the opportunity to go out, don't you come back. Stay there, because I don't know, I cannot go with you. So you stay there. But I managed to take her and my father out to these people, and there was an empty house which people left to go to Russia.
How did you manage to get your father and your mother out?
Through a wall. We went through a wall through the houses, and we left during the night.
Was this one of the ways that you had come and gone from the ghetto before?
Yes. Yes, I took him. I put my mother, I said to put her on a shawl, just the eyes should look out. And my father got a good look. He didn't need it, but I said put the hat with the visor like. And we walked. We went through the ghetto. We even took the train to go to Rembertov. We were staying. I was staying in Rembertov with this family. Rembertov is about 20 kilometers from Praga.
Elena, I'd like to
Yeah.
stop here now and show some pictures of your parents that you brought with you. They'll put them up on the screen in a minute for us.
Yeah.
Would you tell us, going from right to left?
That's me. My father, my mother, my sister.
And about when
That's-
was that picture taken?
That's were taken. Maybe I was 13 years old, just before the war.
And you were
Do you-
13 years old in that picture.
Yes. We were big girls. Good-looking girls.
All right, Elena, I'm going to stop now. This is Bernice Weiner ending tape 1 of her interview with Elena Zegna about her experiences in the Holocaust. We will continue on in the next tape.
Thank you.
Did you talk about the one picture?
One picture.
All right, I'll count you down from 5.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Bernice Weiner. Interview with Elena Zegman. Elena, when we left, you were just describing how you and your mother and father escaped from the ghetto. I'd like to ask you a few more questions regarding the ghetto before we leave. While you were living in the ghetto, were you aware of any Christian families that were living in the ghetto?
No,
So it was totally a Jewish.
completely Jewish. Yeah.
Do you know of any incidents where there might have been an uprising or resistance during the time you were in the ghetto?
No, but I know. So far, my father used to tell me they were going to do something about it. And because he was in the military service and he knew about weapon. So he took him in the group, in the small ghetto.
So in the small ghetto, they were already planning
Yes,
that there might be a resistance.
right.
Were there any individual acts of resistance in the ghetto where individuals tried to
Not
resist?
that I know of, no.
So you were not aware of any that took
No.
place? You told us that your family, you and your family got out one night, going through homes and out under
To
the
the ghetto,
wall,
yeah.
and you were out. What happened as soon as you got out of the ghetto?
We went to a family which is located about 20 kilometers from Warsaw. And there was an empty house next to this family.
What was the name of the family?
The family's name was Sondowski. And the man was born on the frontier between German and Polish, and he was also hiding.
How did you know of this family?
My father used to make business with them. So I got to know many Christian families because of my father making business with them. And outside the city, with farmers, with all kind of people. So those people we came running from Russia, because Russia took over the parts where they used to live, which is like Lvov, and now belongs to Russia too. And but because he was hiding also, he made me the papers too, as a Christian.
Now, he was hiding. Was he Jewish also?
No, he was a Catholic, and a Catholic born on the German soil, and they consider them to be a Volksdeutsch. And he was an aged, but they need him to the army.
You mentioned the word Volksdeutsch. What was that?
Volksdeutsch was the people who were born on the territory which belongs to the Germans. And it was on the Polish soil at that time. They were called Volksdeutsch.
And they were not Aryan.
They were Aryans. They were Aryan, yes. But they lived in Poland. Let's say somebody was born in Germany, he was living in Poland. So he was called Volksdeutsch.
Now, when you came to his home, what was his reaction when he saw you?
He was very happy, very happy. He gave us a whole house to live in. But he told us not during the day. All the things you have to do, you do at night. Because during the day, everybody knew that this is an empty house. Because people left they ran away to Russia. They left an empty house. It was in their custody because they got the keys from it. And whoever wants to come to guest, they stayed there.
Now, you mentioned before that he was able to get you papers.
Yes.
How was he able to do this?
Well, he had to change also his name. He didn't change, but he changed his name of birth. Where he was born, he has to write how he was born in Lvov, because the Germans couldn't get to Lvov to verify, because this was a Russian occupied already. So he had, he was a Catholic. He used to go to church, and he knew his people there, and took me in to the Christian, they call it, and he made the papers for him. He was very helpful to us, and
when these papers were made out, did you use your real names on these papers?
No, I used his name, Sondowska. And his daughter's name, Maria Sondowska. And I was born like her. Everything was his paper, but with the seal of the church.
Now, you were given these papers. Were your parents also given papers?
Yeah, I'll tell you the story what happened. He went to this man who made us the papers. He went behind to look for something, so Franciszek Sondowski, he took the stamp, the seal, he put it in his pocket. And he didn't ask for me papers. No, he didn't do it for me papers, but just for him. The man asked who I am, he said my daughter. He didn't. And he took a plick of empty spaces, empty blanks of paper. And when we left, he came home, he said, "You are now Maria Sondowska, this man." And he put the seal on, and now you can go in my parents too. He made for them papers too.
Were their names also changed?
Yes, to Sondowska. Everybody was Sondowska, but I don't remember what name my mother got, or father. I don't remember the names. because I didn't put too much attention to this place. For mine, I remembered because when I used to walk on the streets, I need that. When I was catched and told papers, I had to show. So I need that to remember. And they were there not long, maybe a month or two. My father said, I can't take it no more. He was an active man, and to sit a whole day long.
Were you able to get plenty to eat while you were living in this
Yes,
house?
I used to go with his daughter, which a brother now here. She was 3 years younger than I am. I used to go places, and we used to buy food. We used to sell it. We used to bring guns. I know a farm where they used to raise guns. You know, the birds, geese, or even other kind of things. We used to bring butter. We used to bring all kind of. We used to sell
Where
it.
did you get the money to buy the original products that you were buying, that you exchanged?
Well, a little my parents had, and a little the men gave us. So we used to bring it in the train. We used to bring. We had sacks. We had rucksack also on to put on. We used to bring it into Warsaw. We used to sell it. We used to make some money. Some product we used to leave. So weren't too comfortable, but we could manage. If my parents would stay there, they probably would be alive. But one time I went away and I came, they were left.
They had gone on their own?
Back to the ghetto.
They went back to the ghetto?
Yeah.
Had they spoken about this before?
I never heard of it. But Francisco, the man, said they couldn't take it, and I don't blame them, because to sit and not to do nothing. My mother used to mend things. They used to bring it to her. She used to sit by the window where the light was, and they used to mend things, you know. But it wasn't for my father. It's like being dead already.
What did you do when you found they had left for the ghetto?
I couldn't get in no more. It was very close, and they started already taking out people from the ghetto. That was already in January, February. It was cold, bitter cold.
Of what year? Do you remember?
44. And I couldn't get into the ghetto no more.
Did you try?
I tried, yes. I went once in, yes.
How did you manage that?
They were taking out people to work from the ghetto, outside. And I joined a group and came in with them. I was a boy. I dressed pants and put my hair up. And I came in. It was very hard to find them. I started to ask questions. And I named my father's name. And somebody pointed me to him. It was a broken down house, but they wouldn't let me in there. He said, sit on the steps. And I sit there on the steps. And somebody came out. I couldn't see even. It was dark already at night. And I said, who's there? So my father said, that's me. He sat next to me. He said, listen, don't come anymore, do here. I don't want you here. I won't let you in here. You're in danger. And that was it.
How long after they left were you able to get to them?
Maybe a month or two. No, it wasn't two, a month. I was trying all kind of ways, because I knew the ways, which way nobody wants to let me through. Even for the money.
Were you able to see your mother at this time?
No, just my father. And he said, I don't want you here anymore. You don't have to be here. And don't forget, he told me, you have 2 sisters in Israel. And the names, don't forget in case I won't be here no more. I said, why shouldn't you be here? It didn't came to my mind that what's going to be? We never knew what next day brings. So he said, listen, listen and listen good. But I'm telling you, you had 2 sisters, don't forget. And tell them what happened. That's all. And he said, I don't want you even here on the steps at night because somebody can step on you. You try to go to a place where you can sit till the morning, you go out again with those people. So I did that. I went out and I could get in no more even if I want to then, because it was very strong tight already, and I was catched.
You were caught on your way out of the ghetto?
No, not in the ghetto, no. That, I came back home to Remberto, home, I called it home because I was slept there at night, and about 2 weeks later when I was going on my own, I had to sell something there was in Praga Bazaar, and I used to sell their stuff, and I went there and I was catch there. I had papers, but still it didn't help. They took me to a place where they used to send out to Germany young girls and boys to work in Germany. And I went through a commission there, because before they sending out, you have to be healthy. So there was like a big, that was the school I went to, that was in that school. There was a big room, in the middle was a German sitting, and all around by 5 doctors. Each one was checking something else, and you were staying naked there. They took, you had to leave the clothes, and the clothes used to go to disinfection. They disinfected the clothes. And all the clothes and my papers were there. So I went to the commission there and went through. They looked to your teeth, you looked at your body, you didn't see nothing broken, it's all right. Then went to the other one, I was a woman, and she looked into my eyes. She said, what's your name? I said, Maria Sondowska. She said, where are you born? I said, Lwów. You are not speaking like they speak there. I said, because I'm raised in Warsaw. Went to school. As a matter of fact, I went to Polish school. So I said, I went to this school, that school here. So she said, again, repeat, what's your name? I said, Maria Sondowska. And she said, and maybe Marie. She started, making fun of me. I said, no. And she stay here. She went to the German, he was in the middle, and she talks to him, and they called me there. And the German looked at me, he said, nicht möglich. Nicht möglich.
Meaning what?
Meaning, it's not possible that I am not Jewish. Nicht möglich, the Jews, that I am a Jew. It's not possible I'm a Jew. So he said to her, because I make myself that I don't understand German. So he said to her, let her tell prayer. There was a cross across from them, so I turned around with the back to them, and I kneeled down, and I said the prayer, and I said to pray to me, not loud. So she said, say it loud in Polish. So I said, I'm saying when I want to say, I'm praying when I want to pray. And no one will tell me that I am a Jew. And he looked at me, he said, she's not a Jew. He stamped, guilty. means I am good for work. And they said, yeah. He said I should show papers. I said, the papers are in there where I put the clothes on. So she said, go and get it. I opened the door. There are men they already taken off clothes. So I said, there are men there. I'm not going naked there. So she sent me to the other room where the clothes comes out already. And I went into the car. I brought the documents, and I don't give it to her. I give it to him. And he looks at me. That's legitimate, he said. Go. I got in and I dressed. I'm telling you, when I almost collapsed. But I got the courage to tell her, I'm not a Jew. Why would you think I am a Jew? And that was it. I was sent to Germany to work.
What thoughts were going through your mind when you were going through this experience?
I want to leave. My father, you have to tell her what happened here. My father. I said, I have to. Someday I will tell her. I was in Germany also, went through plenty as a Christian.
So you are let go at this point.
Yeah.
Where do you go when they let you out of the school building?
They took us in a train to Germany for work.
There were a group of you that they took.
Groups, yes.
What did they do with the girls that did not go to Germany? Do you know?
I don't know.
Did most of them go to Germany to work?
But I see we all went to work.
About how many of them were there?
And that group were about 40 of us.
So they took you from the school and they put you on a train to go to Germany?
Yes.
How long were you on the train?
Oh, traveling through the night.
What were the conditions on the train?
Wasn't too bad. It was a passenger train. We were sitting. We didn't get food though, nothing. We left without food. We were there without food, and they give us nothing.
And you traveled through the night, you said?
Yes. And then they opened up, and we came to Berlin, because I've heard calling out, Berlin.
So there were other passengers on the train beside the 40 girls?
Yes, but we were taken all around. Wouldn't go out nowhere. And we were taken to a military truck, and then to some kind of police station, taking pictures, fingerprints, and reported us places. Somebody came for me. They called up and somebody came for me. They took me to Siemens Fabrik, S-I-E-M-E-S, Siemens. They were making all kind of weapons, and also domestic like irons and things like that.
How many of the girls went with you to Siemens?
2, me and another one.
While you were working there, where did you live?
In a group room, about 10. And
What type of work did you do while you were there?
This was on a Sunday they took us in. We weren't working, and we did get cards to go to eat something, and they assigned us to the room with the 10 girls, and me and this girl, we were assigned together in that same room, but somebody in that room looked at me and took me apart, and they recognized me from who I am.
Were they from your area?
Yes, they are from Warsaw. They recognize me. Because the system from the German was like this. If you're from a city, they take you to a fabric, how you say a fabric?
Factory.
Factory, to factories. And if you're from a small town, they take you to the farm. So I was taken from a big city to the factory.
How long was it before this woman recognized you?
It was right away.
And what happened?
And she came into me, did you bring any money? Did you bring that? Did you bring that? Whatever I had to give her away. So after a week or two, I was left without change of clothes, nothing. So, and that other girl, she didn't realize probably because I didn't tell her what's going on. Didn't have to tell her. But the other girl was sent to the ammunition part.
The girl that was taking all your
With
things.
me. I was taking to the domestic, where we're making the irons there. She was taking to the ammunition park. The ammunition park, they scared her to hell. Why? Because there were people yellow from the powder. They used to stick it in I don't know, she explained it to me, what they used to do. And they came out always yellow from there.
Now you
they
continued to
got
live
sick.
together, or you lived separately?
We lived together. So it was a short time, and this girl was scared to death that she will die there. So this was in a basement down, no lights. She came out always looking like that. And my age, she was a Catholic, but she didn't know who I am.
How old were you at this time?
At this time, I was about 16 and a half, or something like that. And I was thinking to myself, she's going to kill you anyway. You don't have nothing to give her. She's going to take away the food, too. During the night, I came, she was in the lower bunker, I was in the upper bunker. I came down to her and I said, listen, you want to escape from here? Because you're going to end up dead. And me, this girl don't like, they're going to kill me one day. I didn't say why, what. So she said, yes, she would. And we prepared for next night when they closed the lights down. We were making that we are sleeping. And that was a street level. We were not in the higher level, we were on the street level, but we had a window, the doors were closed and somebody always was sitting there watching. So you couldn't escape from the door. So we lowered down through the window, both of us. And we started walking the whole night long.
Now who was
through
on
the
guard?
rails, because the rails used to come to the property there, because they used to deliver like from the factory the goods right to the railroad wagons. So we used to walk through the railroad. I don't know which direction. We just walked through the railroad till we found a station. And we were sitting on the station. You know, almost fell asleep. So a gendarme, a German gendarme, is like a policeman, woke us up, talking to us German. She didn't understood a word. I do understood, but I make that I don't know. So he couldn't communicate. He took us in to the station. He started asking, what are you? Polish, he started to say Polish, French, Belgian. They have all kind of people there. With Polish, we said. So they sent in a translator. And he asked us, what we doing here?
Where had he taken you? Were you in some sort of a station, a police
station? Yeah. So he said, what? The policeman asked him, what we were doing? And why don't we have the name? Because Polish had a Polish name, and wherever we went, we know who to talk to. So I said, we just came from Poland. We don't know where we are. They asked us to go down from the station. We went down, and it's dark at night. We couldn't see. The train went away. We stayed down. That's all. So they check out. There was a train going through. We were lucky. So they say, well, you came just from Poland. We need workers. The policeman said, let's take him. So they took us to the Arbeitsamt, which is a workman's place where they are part people to work. And they sent me to a farm, I had to another farm.
Can you spell the name of where they brought you, the Arbeitsamt?
Arbeitsamt, that was Leipzig.
It was in Leipzig.
Leipzig.
Can you spell Arbeitsamt for me, please?
Arbeitsamt. A-R-B-A-I-T. Or 2T, I don't remember. I really don't. Amt, A-M-T. Amt.
And that meant where the workers gathered?
It was like when you go looking for work, they are
employment agency?
Employment agency.
So you were sent to a farm?
Yes. They needed in a farm, and I went to a farm, and she went to another farm.
How far away from the station was the farm?
Oh,
located?
the farmer came to, I was sitting there in the station there long till he came to pick me up. He came with a horse and buggy and took us away. The name called, oh my God. No, first he took me to the station. We went to Delitzsch, a small town. And from Delitzsch, he left there at the horse and buggy. They had places for bicycles, for horses to stay and wait for them with short trips. And then went on the horse and buggy to the town. And the town, would you believe, I can't remember now, would you believe? What?
Where was the town located? In what country?
In Germany. That's a German town. Next to Leipzig. Next, but not next. That other one that I mentioned before. I'm very bad. I'm already afraid.
In Delitzsch?
Delitzsch.
Yeah.
From Delitzsch, they took me to that little town.
All right, it'll come to you.
Oh my God.
Was this the town in which the farm was located?
The what?
The farmer was taken?
Yes, yes.
This is where the farm was
Yes.
located?
And I was there till the end of the war. I was there until the end. I met a lot of people, and I had some incidents there, but I could manage. We went to church together there.
All right. They took you in, were you as part of their family or as a worker where you lived separately from the family?
I was working there. I was a worker.
Were there any other young Polish people that were working
When I
in
came
town?
in, I was me only. But I knew later on that somebody escaped from their farm. 2 already. And they started to treat me better because of that. They were afraid if the third one goes, they won't get no one to work the farm.
How are they treating you?
At the beginning, they took me in together to eat with them. I got a room above them, a small, tiny room, and the food wasn't bad. And I was told what to do.
What type of work did you do on the farm?
Clean the Stein, well, you said it that. And
Take your time.
I'm not very well in any language.
Do you clean?
I clean the stables. Now I know. I clean the stable. They had horses. They have cows. They have all kind of gooses and kachkas and everything they had. So I was feeding this and cleaning that. And when the season starts to go to the field work, I went to work there too.
How many people were employed on the farm?
Yeah, another German woman was there. She lived there, so she used to help him out. And later on, when the season started to take off the fruit from the
To harvest?
They used to bring in a French prisoner, a Frenchman. And a few months later, they brought in a Polishman from Poland, a man.
What did he tell you about what was going on in Poland at the time when he came?
She didn't discuss it. Just short before the war ended, short before, they took her son to the army, and she cries. And she came to me and said, Maria, now I know how your mother must feel when they take away the child to work. And she started crying. And she said, I am guilty. I'm supposed to treat you better. Maybe they're going to treat my son better there too. That she said to me. And when the Americans start bombing from one side and the Russian from the other side, we were sitting in the basements once. They wouldn't let us go out from there. She once came to me and she said, you know, now the Jews will come out and they're going to kill us all. And they be them right to do that to us, what we did to them. And I opened the eyes. The first thing I've heard talking about Jews. I never heard during the old time what happened there. But I got letters from Poland. The Miss Sandoska used to send me letters, and she used to send me pictures from there. And she said the ghetto is all broken up. No one is there no more.
Now you say she sent you letters. Did she know where you were?
Yes, I sent her a letter. And because I had to change the name to, remember I told you we escaped, me and her, and they asked us names, so I didn't say no more I'm Maria Sandoska. I said I'm Maria Niewinska.
Now why did you choose that name?
Because if they gonna verify who I am, they're gonna send to Poland, they could. But it seems to me they didn't. And they give me papers as I said I am and what I'm born and everything. They gave me a new Arbeitskarte, means working papers.
When you say they, who was they? And
The Germans, the police.
And when did they do this?
When they brought me into the farm.
So again,
2 weeks later.
You had a new identity
Yes,
when you went to
yeah.
the farm.
And then I wrote to them a letter from where I am on the farm. Because on the farm I saw I could survive. Nobody knew me. They all from the small towns. No one knew me. And I got well along with all the people. I used to go to church with them. And I was in good relation with everyone. So I didn't have any trouble there.
Did you have any trouble and difficulty posing as a non-Jew at this time? How did you feel about it?
I felt very bad. Once came a man, there was a harvest from fruit. They ran, you know, in Germany, on the ways, the highways, with fruit trees. And somebody has to pick them. So they make an action. Somebody takes them, buys them for how much he wants. That farmer of ours brought away with plums, beautiful big plums, and he used to take out, and A lot of them they making conserves, and a lot they sell it to the market. So, but there were a lot of trees. A lot of people come from the city, from Leipzig, and they used to help us out picking. So one man came over as we were picking together one tree. He started asking from where I am. He told me I'm Polish. From what city? I say from Warsaw. How much my name? He called me by my name. And I said, what's your name? He said, my man, Heinrich Silbermann. I almost fainted. My maiden name is Silbermann. I just put down my face because it came to me. I said, he's also a Jew. I didn't know how to react to him, but I was afraid. And I said to me, no, I won't give it out. I won't tell who I am. We were working, he finished, he went back to, they give him a basket of the fruit. He went back and I never saw him again. But, you know, the feeling.
What were thoughts that would go through your mind when you'd go to church with the family on Sunday?
If I ever go see again, because I got letters, no one is in the ghetto, I said, I'm never going to see again. For what do I live now? But then my father came to my mind. You have to tell them.
When you say you got letters from people, you received letters from people in
For
the ghetto?
those people, yes, Sandowskis.
Oh, from the Zandowskis.
Yes.
During all the different places that you were going, was there ever a time that you were in hiding by yourself? Or was it always that you were being transported from place to place by the Germans as part of a group?
Well, since they catched me, I was transported from place to place. But then, when I was on the farm, that was the last stop. That's when the war finished.
But before this, prior to all of this, was there ever a time that you were in hiding by yourself?
No, no. I was with my head always thinking I shouldn't give up. But I started. And
to go back for a minute to the time of the ghetto, was when you were smuggling things in and out of the ghetto, was it only food that you brought in and out?
Mostly food, yes. The ghetto needed food, nothing else. Food. Because people were starving, laying on these streets. It was terrible. The hunger was immensely. I didn't feel it because I was out of the ghetto all the time. I had always food there. Where I went and I opened the door, come on in, because they knew me. And they liked me, and they had business with my father. So where I opened the door, they fit me. There were not even days when I couldn't get into the ghetto. So they used to even give me clothes to change, and I washed there. I can't tell. I was treated badly through the Polish people. Although I've had so many stories, the Polish people. I can't say it because I was treated well with them.
So you received both good and bad treatment from the Polish people?
Yes.
Were there any other families other than the Zandowskis that helped you?
Yes.
Who were they? Do you remember their names?
One was named, I know the first name only, Zbigniew.
And how did they help you?
They helped me because that's the one that we exchanged the apartment with. And each time they let me in, they let me wash and change and everything. They let me do it. And also counselors. Now I remember the counselors. They were how they call one who takes care of the house. How you call it? Housekeeper from that house. During the night, if I rang the bell, he opened up, he gave me a bed to sleep. Each time I needed something, I went to him, and he gave me everything I needed.
Do you know what his name was?
Kanzler.
Oh, that was actually his
Kanzler,
last name.
Kazimierz Kanzler. And I tell you why. His daughter went together with me to school. During the ghetto, she didn't want nothing part of me because she was afraid, you know, and I don't blame her at that point. But they had our only son was taken away, and they didn't know where. Absolutely nowhere. And she cried. She said, you know, the people who believed in God, in Christianity, they were Catholic. And they said, even a dog you cannot throw out on the street. How can you throw it at a child on the street?
So they would protect you.
Yes. So they used to take me in all the time. During the night, I ring the bell. Shh, he said. He took me in. He made a bed out for me. In the morning, he wake me up. He said, you need something.
Now he was taking care of the house for a family.
Yeah.
Was the family aware that he was whose house he was living in? Were they aware that you were there?
The people, some of them know me, and they were helping me too. I have a butcher there who knows me. And the two sons my age too. And they know me. Each time they saw me on the street, they salute me. They never stop though, because they're afraid. That's what I'm saying. People tell, but they were good people too.
And you were lucky enough to be helped by them.
Yes. I was a lucky one. And I want to tell you an episode about the Sondoska, which I had to tell you because nobody will believe me. That's during the ghetto time. I was in the house. During the night, she woke me up. She said, listen, I got to know a baker here. And some bread don't comes out perfect for selling. So they give away to these poor people who cannot buy it. Polish people too, they were hungry too. So she said, I can get that bread for nothing. A whole big basket. You want to come with me to the bakery? And we take the big basket and we go to the ghetto, throw over the people to take them. We went quite a few times, I with her. During the night we were throwing over the wall. We were throwing one was staying in looking if somebody doesn't come. That was during the night.
It was over the wall of the ghetto that you
Yes.
were throwing the bread.
We were throwing over. Who was taking it? We don't know. During the night, no one's there to take it. But in the morning, when they wake up, there's no bread. The one who lies on the floor were first to take it.
Were you ever caught when you attempted to do this?
No, with the bread, no. With the bread, we went quite a few times we did it. And then somehow it stopped. I don't know what happened. It's always changing. Each day is something else.
You also mentioned that at the time in the ghetto, your father was in the small ghetto, and that there was a group there that was planning a resistance. Did he
Yeah.
ever tell you anything about that?
No. One time, this I know, he sent me to a van to take a package. That's it. And I took the package. I had to bring it in to the ghetto. It was so heavy like hell. I said, what should I do? And the man told me not to open up because it's packed strictly good, not to open up. He was paid already the money and everything in advance. And I tried to get in with that group, that working group. And I was having a big packet. So the man was having the group. He said, how will you get through the door with this? And he put this, what do you have in there? I said, I don't even know it. But I was said, my father told me to get into the ghetto with that package. He looked at me, he said, they're going to kill you if they catch what you have in there. You don't know it, I know. I said, what do you know? He said, yes, I know, but you cannot go with me because we're going to be in trouble all. So I said, so what should I do? He said, listen, come with me in the group, but I'm going to see who stays there. Because they have the guards, you know, they know who is going to pass, who not. So he came to me, stay in the middle, and he gave me a big thing, he hold that like this, it's like a coat. And stay in the middle, don't you go on the side, because on the side you're going to be seen. And to do the two, which is staying next to me, the two men, he told them in Yiddish, Nem zarem, take her around. So they took me around, we went through it, and we went through like nothing. He came to me after that, said, there's no money to pay me for that, what you did. And I said, what did I do? You're taking in there, aus Gewehr. You have revolvers there with powder. It's so heavy. I said, how did you know? She said, don't talk to me no more. Go where you have to go with it. And I went, and I had the same story, to sit on the steps. My father wouldn't let me in where they are. They were already in the bunkers. And
when you say they were already in the bunkers, what do you mean?
They had built under, and the basements in the sewers, that's what called bunkers. And I asked my father, what is in there? You didn't tell me. Somebody else has to tell me. If they catch me, they would kill me. He said to me, Gott behilft dir. God helps you, because you always come through. He said, you have to go through. And since then, he said, no more. And that's it. You go and stay there. That's it. And it didn't make.
So the night that you brought your father the package with the guns,
yeah,
was the last night that you saw him?
Yes. That was the last time. My mother, my sister didn't see no more for a long time.
Did he acknowledge the fact that there were guns in the package that you brought, or did he never say?
He was afraid somehow. He said, if they catch you, you shouldn't know. You don't even know where I've been. You didn't see me. They were afraid. They were organizing there. There must have been, because when I left, and I got a letter in about May or June was it, because I was staying in Simmons. I was 2 weeks, and then it was about that time I got a letter. The ghetto is completely destroyed. There's no one there, and you take good care of you. And I got another letter for Christmas with that picture in a platki. You know what the platki means? The Catholic people during Christmas time break something, it's a tin like a waffle. And they give to each one,
a wafer?
A wafer like, yeah. They give to each one in the family for good health. For
who sent that to you?
The Sandoska. She even sent a package with a cake, which I took it in to the people. I said, we have a cake, and they cut it, and we celebrate Christmas then.
Before you left the ghetto that night with your father, did you have the feeling that this would be the last time that you would see him?
No, because each time I was thinking that's the last time, because each time was worse and worse. I couldn't get into the ghetto. It was each time worse. People, some groups were already taken away, didn't come through. And each day is different, so I didn't know, I didn't think about it even.
Were there any other incidents when you were in the ghetto or going in and out of the ghetto that you would like to tell us about that you didn't relate to us before?
I have one thing. It's hard to tell. I was on a market selling some goods. I don't remember what it was. Germans came to the market. A woman was sitting with a little baby to the breast, and he kicked her and the baby fell out. So he took the baby, threw in the air. And another German shoot to it. It was terrible. Since then I was always thinking, I don't want to be the ghetto. This was for me, and I was then young. That was the first weeks in the ghetto. This was to me a rebellion, like, said, I'm not going to be here. It stays with me day and night sometimes. I knew the woman. I didn't know she had a baby. I knew the woman from Prague. She was sitting there begging. That was a terrible thing. There are many incidents. My father had a fur coat. He stopped him on the street. The German took off the coat. And he wanted money from him. Took him in a house. So some people ran to us. And they said, if you don't give him the money, they're going to kill him there. We didn't have money. We ran around looking for money. So my mother said, you go in there and you tell him that you don't have any money. You are hungry yourself. So they let him go. But the German did what they wanted to do. They just got in to rob us, to kill, to whatever they wanted to do. They could do it. They had the power. We couldn't do nothing. Well, I was liberated through the American Army.
How did that happen?
April 20, that was Hitler's birthday. They came into the town. I still don't remember it. My God, why have you forgotten the town? I have, it's no good. My head doesn't work.
Take a minute and we'll think of
It was a little town, only 150 with the families, everything, 150 people.
Take a minute and you can think of it. Because
I was
have
working on the
I have
fields.
to end the tape right now.
Oh,
All right?
okay.
This is Bernice Weiner, ending tape 2 of her interview with Elena Zegna, and we will continue on tape 3.
How I remember? You don't?
Okay, we're clear. Okay, stand by. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
It's on. She's shown some. Talk? She said talk.
This is Bernice Weiner, beginning tape 3 of her interview with Elena Zegna. Elena, as we ended tape 2, you were telling us that on April 20th, 1945, which was Hitler's birthday, you were liberated from the little farm you were working at in Germany by the American soldiers. Could you tell me what happened on that day, please?
I was working in the fields by myself, and I see something on the horizon coming, and I didn't know what's coming. I was afraid that German soldiers, so I didn't know what to do. I hid before a tree. There was on a lonely tree, and I looked what's going to happen, and I say they're coming and coming till they came. And it seems to me that they saw me, that they called me. If they saw me, I have to go. I go there and I see that not German. I looked, so they saw me the P. I had the P on each thing. So they say, he's Polish speaking. I said, yes. Because there were translators, like 4 of them, French, Polish, German, and I said, Polish, yes. So he said, where is your farm boss, the boss? I said, in the town. So he said, come with me. He took me on the jeep. He lead me to the town. So I lead him. I started to ask her, who are you? He said, we are the American army already. Don't you worry. It don't work no more.
Was he able to communicate with you?
Polish.
He spoke Polish?
Yeah, because he saw my P. The translator came to me and spoke Polish. And
what were the thoughts that were going through your mind at this moment?
I couldn't believe. I said, you know, I'm liberated. I am no more be with the Germans. He said, no, you can go home. I had a kerchief on my head. He took off the kerchief. He said, look at her, how beautiful that girl is. And they make her work in that field. He said, no more working. Then he said, where are you living? In the town when we came to, we were on the corner from the way, from that way. And I said, in this, were the bosses good to you? I said, I can't say they weren't that the best, but they were bosses. They didn't beat you, nothing. I said, no, you don't have to do nothing wrong to him. So he said, do you have nice Sunday clothes? I said, from where? I haven't got nothing. So he said, is there a store here somewhere? I said, yeah, there's the only store there. So he said, come with me. Went to the store. The woman didn't want to open. She said, it's closed. So he said, you better open up. If not, I open up myself. So she opened up, and he said, pick whatever you like. And I looked at her, I was staying gaping, don't worry, pick, it's going to be paid. Don't worry, pick everything what you need. I picked shoes, I didn't have shoes, I had wooden clocks on me. I never had shoes. And a few things I took, he said, take it more, you need it. So I took it. He helped me up the jeep. He said, now take me to the Bürgermeister, which is like a mayor from the town or whatever. I took. He said, now you can go home and tell everyone, go from house to house, tell them to stop working. Today is a holiday. And they went into the Bürgermeister. The Bürgermeister had to give him the place to where to stay, and the rest army went on. So there was like they were occupying like the places, all the small towns around what we had.
What did you do at this point?
Yeah, I ran like crazy. I ran and bang in the door, get out, we are free. Get out, all the Polish people. There weren't no Jews. I was like a Polish then. Get out, the Americans are here, get out, get out. And when I came to my house with those clothes, they said, where did I get these clothes? I said, I got it from the Americans. So the girls come to me running from the house. What did you get? I said, well, they took me into the store and I got it. Go there, maybe you get two. I sent them in. Some of them get it, some did not. But that was it. And yeah, and 2 days after that, they say every one who is not a German should stay indoors, not to go out at night. What they did, they took in women, young soldiers. There were all kind of people. There were black between them, and there were all kinds of they themselves may be robbed. I don't know. What they did that night, I don't know. But I've heard many stories. I cannot confirm what it was. After that, 2-3 months later, that was April. Let's say.
Where did you go after that?
We didn't. I stayed on, but I didn't work. I just did myself. My clothes were washing. I was doing. We were going to each other. But I didn't do nothing.
Did you hear about what was going on, what the American forces were doing at that time?
I've heard things, but who knows?
But, I mean, were they still liberating areas?
Yes, well, it was almost because they went already to Berlin, so it was liberated. But they went on occupying the small places around it. So
so the war was still on at this time?
No,
certain areas?
No, the war stopped, but I didn't hear any more shooting or bombarding.
About what date was this? Do you remember?
That was in April. And May was the treaty already signed. And after the treaty in Potsdam, what they made, they were parting the German territory. So where I was going to belong to Russia, because it was near the east. So the American army came by and they used to tell us, who wants to go back to Poland should come that day or this time. The trucks will take him. And the ones who don't want to go back to Poland should go with this truck in that place.
What was your decision?
Because I wasn't sure, I said, maybe somebody is still alive. I'm going back to Poland to look. And I could go as a minor because I wasn't 18 yet. And they said, who's 18 years old, they would take him to America. Because no parents, but I said, no. I have to see what's happened there. I have to go back. Maybe I'm going to find someone. I didn't find no one.
Did you get any information about what had happened to your parents at this time?
Oh, well, I met someone who told me they were taken to the concentration camps. My mother ran through the electric because she didn't want to live no more.
Was this someone that was with your parents?
Yes.
And what happened with your father?
Well, my father, I don't know. About him, I didn't hear. I only know somebody told me he must have been in ghetto when the uprising was, and he must have been or taken to the camps, or we must have been that day.
Did you ever find out?
No.
You never did?
No.
After you found that there was no one left in Poland for you, what did you do then?
There was a Jewish committee formed, and I went there to look, and I said I don't want to stay anymore here. I was staying with the Sondowskis in there. All the time, they were my protectors, I'm telling you. And I tried to find my sisters. So through Red Cross, I found them. I didn't have money to write even to them.
Where were your sisters?
In Israel, both of them.
Now, what did you do at this point?
Please take me there. I don't want to be here. They couldn't do nothing because it was still into the English protectorate there. And they were fighting themselves. So they couldn't do nothing for me. And I was in a camp in Germany, DP camp, a DP camp, yeah.
What was the name of the camp?
In Germany, we were in many places. We were taken from one place to another. It was called, it's by, ich habe das auch vergessen, how you like that. I can remember things.
Where was it located in Germany, do you know?
The American were there.
How long did you remain there?
If I can remember, I'm
How long
there.
did you remain there?
Oh, yeah. In the camps, we were there maybe a year and a half. I got married there. I got a baby there.
Did you work while you were in the camp?
Yes.
What did you work as?
I worked in the kitchen, and my husband worked. He was in a factory making some clothes. I don't know.
And you met your husband for the first time in one of these displaced
No, I
persons
met him in Poland.
before?
When
the
I
war?
came back to Poland, I met him in Poland. And I joined there in Poland the organization Shema Tzayir, which I have a picture also to show. And
What was the idea of this organization? What was
to send people to Israel. We were sent from there, but not directly to Israel. We were going to stages. We were going to, first they took us to Germany, and then to Italy. And we were staying in Italy, in Rome, in Cinecittà camp. Waiting to go there. Then I got a letter from my sister telling me, because I was already discussed this from the camp. I said, I have enough of camps, German camps, Italian camps, and I want to live a normal life. I have already a child. So I'm thinking of going back to Poland. And my husband was in military service, who could get a good place there. So my sister said, don't do that. The letter, please don't do that. She sent me some money from Israel to get by.
How long did you remain in Italy?
In Italy till year 48. Somehow she managed to uncle from my brother-in-law to make papers to go to Paraguay. We went to Paraguay from there.
So you went from Italy to Paraguay?
Italy to Paraguay. And in Paraguay we stayed about 3 months till we smuggled through a ship, through the river, to Argentina.
Why did you want to leave Paraguay?
Impossible to live. It was a backwards country completely. There was no running water. There was not possible to live. It was like you live in a jungle. The native Indians were carrying the kids on the back, or carrying a sack of some kind of food, potatoes or whatever, and the woman was nothing to them, and the man was going with a pipe, and it was no life there.
So you remained in Paraguay for 3 months?
3 months.